A typical day at Back to Nature is mostly chaotic, full of animals and intake. We start our day off by arriving with our cars usually full of babies that came home with us from the night before, so sometimes we have upwards towards 10 small travel carriers of baby squirrels, baby raccoons, baby opossums that literally people bring briefcases to work, we bring our babies to work. Spencer the Arctic fox is one of those typical cases of people trying to have a wild animal as a pet, which Spencer was abandoned actually, sitting in a carrier in front of an apartment door over by the UCF area. We do not know who his original owner was, but he was only about 5 months old. They assumably didn't want him anymore, and I can tell why. He's a fox. Foxes actually release an odor that can consume an entire area and smell like a skunk. They're destructive. They bury their food under anything they can find, so if they don't have dirt, they'll use a couch. Winnie, our bald eagle, came to Back to Nature in the early 90s. She was from Audubon Center, where she was originally brought in after her injury. They estimate her age to be about 35 to 36 years old. She was already at least 10 to 12 years old when she arrived to them, and she was there for a while. Her wing was completely mangled, and there was no saving it at all. The only thing to do was either euthanize her or amputate the wing. And at the time, there was no euthanizing of a bald eagle unless absolutely necessary. So she was able to slide, through that and get her wing amputated. We only survive with our volunteers. We only have 3 paid staff for a job that requires probably 6 paid staff. So without our volunteers, there's no way we could do the amount of animals that we do, which is about 2,500 animals a year that need our help, that we have to take care of until they're well enough to go back into the wild. So our volunteers are extremely crucial to us. We have internship programs now that really, bring out the strength in us, because they get their hours, their credit, and it's a win-win situation.
On average, they'll move to the back row for about 2 months, if that. Most of the time, we try to only have them back here for about a month, but it depends on the circumstances, the time of year, and releasability,
Maturity level of the animal. It could have been stressed. It could have been, because they're just like people. You've got some that are highly motivated, and they come in just, and you want them to stay that way. You don't want them to buddy up. You want them to stay feisty, is what we call it. You got some that are babies, that might even be with the mom another month longer than even the other ones do. So you got to kind of play it by ear.
So once they graduate to the back row, they tend to wild out very quickly. And having some of the native wildlife around here also helps them acclimate, because they'll see other wild squirrels. Sometimes at night, wild raccoons will visit through, and you'll have other songbirds and doves and everything else fly around. So these animals do get to see the environment that they will be eventually moving into.
All of the animals, they have their time, and most of them have the same time as they grew up together. Roughly, they're here about 3 to 4 months. And once they reach that process and they've shown to us that they are wild enough, they're strong enough and capable of taking care of themselves, we round them up. We take them out to several different release properties. They're all privately owned land that we've gotten permission from the owners to release on. We pick carefully the land that we release our animals on to make sure that it is habitat friendly for that particular species. And a lot of times the land is also monitored. So if there's an animal that's not quite doing as well, then you can usually tell, and if they have to come back, they come back. But most of the time they do just fine. But we round them up and release them out and wish them all the best so that they can make babies and continue to carry on their species.